Hey guys, Justin here. There's a lot of iRacing news this morning, and the first thing I do when I open up the iRacing forum and see a huge wall of text from an iRacing staff member is I want someone to TLDR it for me. So, hey, I'll be that guy. But before we get into the racing and technical side of things, I want to share an update from Greg West at 7:28 this morning on Russian iRacing member accounts. So, what happens here is that iRacing is not accepting direct payments from Russia anymore starting on March 7th. Now, before this, you can still make payments to iRacing, so you're not going to be banned from iRacing after this date. You just won't be able to update your membership, purchase new content, etc. So, if you're in Russia and you can afford to, say, buy a 2-year membership before that date, then you pretty much guarantee that you won't be locked out of iRacing, at least for the next couple of years. But if you're in Russia and purchased iRacing through Steam, then nothing will change. You can still make purchases through Steam as per usual and renew your membership as per usual. One member of the Arca Farm Discord who lives in Russia, though, did say how they were also locked out of payments on Steam, so this might not even be an option. So if you're in Russia and plan to continue racing iRacing, you may have to buy some content in advance and memberships for sure in advance. And now getting onto the Meteor post, iRacing staff member Tony Gardner posted this morning iRacing development update on a few things. And these few things are basically laying out a roadmap of what they want to do with dirt oval and even regular oval surfaces, dynamic track, all that stuff. So let's see what he has to say. The first paragraph is basically a state of the company where he says that iRacing has hired a lot of new talent, they have a lot more experience and other sims coming in, some creative talent coming, and basically iRacing is doing well, has made good hires, and they can take on bigger projects. He then goes on to say that the current state of racing in dirt and oval racing is not exactly where they want it to be at, and he lays out what they are working on to help combat the issues. He says they're doing a full refresh of dirt oval racing, and they're making progress on dynamic track surface, tire model, physics, dirt physics, water physics, all of that. They seem to have gotten to a point in development where they are starting to see results, as they are feeling the dirt cars are more connected to the track in the model that they're working on, and that there's a bigger difference between the tacky surface and the slick surface. He emphasizes that this is not a complete overhaul, as there are some things that are remaining unchanged, but the output of the product should be very noticeable and a big improvement. And then almost as a footnote, he goes on to say that they are doing almost the exact same thing for pavement oval side of things, which is very surprising. I know the oval community has been asking for a dynamic track to come back ever since the new tire model came out and kind of forced it by the wayside. But refreshed tire model and dynamic track is something that I think can only make oval racing on iRacing even better. He then quickly updates the status of the rain and dynamic weather model coming to iRacing, saying that it's probably going to be this year, but he can't make any promises. And now on to the really technical stuff, and you guys might not know this, but I am an engineer, and do I know anything about this stuff? Very little, but what I do know how to do is pretend that I know what I'm talking about. So first he says that the iRacing tire model is the most sophisticated in the industry, but there are also stuff that they can do better on. He gives an example of stuff that the tire model does well, so modeling of forces and tire deflections from stopped to high speed for car tires. Basically, when you're going from stopped and speeding up, they think that the forces on the tire and then also the physical shape changes as a result of these forces, they think that they do very realistically. Carcass foundational stiffness from construction parameters, I assume this just means that the material that they're basing these tires off of is modeled very well by their model in terms of just how much forgiveness there is in the material itself, not having to do with any other forces besides just literally if you were to push on the material, how forgiving it would be. Slip curves from tread rubber properties, including dynamic factors such as temperature and speed change. So this is just how much grip is in the tire based on how much force is being put on the tire, and also other factors such as temperature and speed. Transient thermal modeling near and at the tire surface. So transient is like short term in an instant type of deal. So they think that a very short term heat modeling at the tire surface and how that affects grip is done very well. But something they want to improve on is the contact patch model. So the contact patch is how much of the rubber is actually making contact with the track and how that changes based on different forces. You can see in this picture that they provided how a force to the right would cause not a uniform patch of rubber to be contacting with the track. It's more based to the left and less to the right. The things that this contact patch model may also affect and that they want to work on is rolling drag, so how much your car slows down just from the tires making contact with the ground, the speed of the tread conditioning. I'm not actually quite sure what that means myself. And then heat buildup would be affected by this too, because the more that your tire is in contact with the ground in general, the more heat that will be around it and will be produced in that local area. And then finally, camber modeling, because the camber is pretty much how much the tire is tilted one way or the other, so that's going to affect the contact patch as well, even disregarding all other forces. And then the treat by reading all the way to the end is showing all of the tracks that they are scanning and working on, which I'll be honest, I'm an oval guy, I don't know all of these, but they seem pretty interesting and I'm sure a lot of you guys are excited about. Are you really going to make me say these? There's no way. I'm not embarrassing myself. Sorry. Well, the other thing too is that Zandvoort is actually getting a reskin, which is good because iRacing scene is outdated, so getting an update on that would actually be really cool as well. And then finally, there's a couple US-based tracks coming up in California, one being a dirt oval and one being a short paved oval, so excited for those as well. Alright, that's all that they wrote. Thanks for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and hope to see you all on the track.